Greetings, Kindred. I'm WoD Maquette, and I'm in a new area of our world of darkness right now, and it's kind of exciting. I'm actually at the Premier Mall in Atlanta, Georgia. This is big for me because I've never been out of Florida. Nearly 40 years alive, and I've never been out of that damn state. And this place is huge. The buildings are gorgeous. There's so much amazing architecture here. And I'm here because of something that has nothing to do with the channel, but I'm taking this opportunity to get the chance to wander around, check out Atlanta, because I see this as a world of darkness pilgrimage in a way. We are able to walk on the same streets. I know that sounds so over exaggerated because it's Georgia, but and if you're from the U.S., I mean Georgia, it's not like I hopped on a boat or an airplane and went overseas or anything like that. But I'm able to take the beginning steps of the assault on the East Coast that the Sabbat took back in 1999 in the World of Darkness lore. Atlanta was such a huge, important place for that. This is where Sasha Vikos kidnapped the Victoria Ash. This is where Leopold, the Tremere Antitribu caitiff, who thought he was a Toreador, went through his massive transformation with the Eye of Hazamael. This is where Vigel, the Setite assistant of Hesha, lost his life. This is where it all began when it came to the beginning of the end. This is literally the starting ground zero of Gehenna. And I am incredibly excited to be able to take you guys around with me. This is going to be a very interesting set, and I have a group of cicadas in this tree over here who really want to join me. I am currently staying in that massive hotel right there, on the 9th floor, looking down on this beautiful city. And I'm gonna walk the steps. That's basically it, and I'm gonna bring you guys with me as best as I can. And our grand finale for what I plan on doing here is exciting, and I can't wait to show you guys. So I've always known that the city that I live in, Fort Myers, Lehigh area, is a small town, really. I grew up in Orlando, Florida. I've lived in Tampa. And these are all areas that I always considered to be much larger than Lee County, where I live. But I gotta say, man, I know I'm just going on and on about the size of this place, but this is a completely different beast. Atlanta is just a completely different thing. Like, maybe it's just the fact that it's a different state. Higher altitude, all that stuff. First off, the city is completely built around the geography, like the natural geography of the place. There's so many hills, and I don't really want to say mountains, but like, for somebody who's never actually seen a mountain, they're mountains. We were driving around, I think I got a picture of it. If I do, I'll put it up. But we were driving down the road at one point today, after we are on our way to get settled in at the hotel, and there was this amazing, this large building just popping out of a field of trees, and I couldn't tell if it was a really tall building that was just surrounded by like massive monster trees, or if it was like a big building on this massive hill surrounded by forest. But like, the first thing out of Serendipity's mouth, because I'm here with Serendipity for a business thing for her, was just like, that's a chantry. And it got me thinking, like, I don't think I know where the Atlanta chantry is, where Paramandes killed Hannah. And we were driving around, and we ended up passing various areas, and I was like, any one of these houses that we're passing could be Leopold's Haven. And I understand it's all fiction, but I feel like I'm on a historical walk. I feel like I'm in an area like Jamestown or Salem, Massachusetts, where this massive history had happened. And it's the lore for this game is so rich and so deep. A little anecdote here. A few months ago, I was actually I was driving back and forth across Florida, south to north, unfortunately, a few times, and I ended up stopping in Jacksonville, which, by the way, sub-bot city. But we ended up stopping in Jacksonville, and there's a toy store over there that I've been to Jacksonville a few times, and I've always wanted to go into this place. It just seems like one of those places where they've just collected such an array of ridiculous things. And while I was in there, I found out they actually had a not a big collection, but I'd say like 7 or 8 books of World of Darkness, of classic World of Darkness stuff. Now, most of them were Mage the Ascension, which no insult to you Mage fans out there. I'm just not into it. I'm sure I would be if I could get past the old directions. Hopefully Mage 5th edition is a little bit more subdued, since everything seems to be matching up and being a little bit more crossoverable. I think that's going to be a lot easier this time around. But it was a bunch of like Mage House books. But they did have one thing, and now that I'm sitting here, I'm actually just sitting at the the Premier Mall's little area out here. You can see what I'm doing outside the Cheesecake Factory. But the one book that I really wish I had gotten was Atlanta by Night, and I could have that in my hands right now. We actually do plan on cutting through Jacksonville on the way home because Serendipity has family there. And we're going to go see if that book is still there. Now, usually I wouldn't have any hopes that it would still be there, but I'm pretty sure that book has been there since it was actually like new and on the shelves. So I'm gonna go see if I can find that. And the cool thing about that book is that it's not just a vampire book. It was actually primarily a wraith book. And then the last like 10 pages or so was vampire and how the city of Atlanta works. And if we can find it, I will be doing a review on that book, because although it's old, it's still amazing that I was able to find it. So the big reason that I'm in Georgia, just to let you guys know, is that I am here at Mystic South, which is a big old paganism witchcraft convention. And wasn't really going to mention much of this. I am in this amazing wooded, I guess, just nature walk path thing. And I figured I'd take a couple of minutes in between the obligations that I have and the classes that I'm going to. I'm here primarily for Serendipity, who's the player of currently Levy. Dawn Rose is probably the more popular character that they play. But I'm here in support because they are going to be giving a little bit of a class meditation lead thing here, which is going to be a lot of fun. But I just got done taking a God, I've gone to 3 conferences so far today. First one I went to was really fun. It was just on household uses for mystical things. But then the next one, the second one, is actually the one that I really wanted to go over. Is I just got done with a class on a mythical figure by the name of Hermes Mercurius Trismegistus, which is Hermes from Greek mythology, Mercurius being Mercury from Roman mythology, and then there's Trismegistus, which is actually a Egyptian title that means the thrice great, or the great great great, and it's actually thought that he is also Thought, the god Thought, and that Hermes Trismegistus, when he passed away, in the mythology, he rose up, became divine, and became the god Thought. Which I always thought it was interesting that in Egyptian his name was Thought, and he is in English the god of thought, like thinking. He is the god of writing and the written word, but he's also the person who is attributed to creating the alchemical practices, which we know with Clan Tremere and pretty much everything. But also, there's a lot of misconception about what alchemists did, and that's something that's it's odd that I'm bringing that up here, but it does have a lot to do with this, because there's a major thing between the Tremere and other practitioners of blood sorcery, and also Clan Tzimisce, and that's everything that you read about blood sorcery, well, not blood sorcery, about alchemy, is allegorical. When you read about the Philosopher's Stone and things like that, the idea of alchemy turning lead to gold is actually a metaphor for transforming yourself into a higher person, human into godhood. The concept of what the Tremere were attempting to do. Look at that well. Look at that well. That's amazing. Look at this. This amazing. Just freaking awesome and beautiful. Anyway, the idea that you are able to turn one substance to another, being able to bring humanity to the divine, which in essence is what the Tremere were attempting to do before they became Kindred. But it's also the same concept, because it's Eastern philosophy coming over into more of a Western viewpoint, where alchemy is the sought after practice that would lead to Asiatahaka. Basically what the Tzimisce are trying to do, where they're trying to bring themselves to a higher understanding of self through physical evolution. And since I just took that class, I also took in a lecture on Norse divination, which was actually pretty cool, because it was a whole new thing. It wasn't just the standard rune stuff that, for those of you who follow that kind of thing, know. It was more of a personal gnosis look into creating your own versions of divination. But that's neither here nor there. That has nothing to do with our channel. And I just wanted to let you guys know that even though I'm here doing non-game stuff, I am still finding a lot of meaning into the inner workings of the lore of Vampire the Masquerade in this kind of stuff, especially since we're going over alchemy and what alchemy can mean to the different clans. And I guess in this place, Tremere and Tzimisce being the most prevalent. I just thought that would be an interesting additive to the video. So I'm standing outside of 1280 Peachtree Street Northeast. This is the High Museum of Art. This is where it actually started. This is where the first assault went down. This is where all the traffic is. We are actually standing outside of the High Museum of Art, where Victoria Ash attempted to make her coup as Prince of Atlanta, and everything went down the toilet, because that was also the same night that Sachavikos, dressed as the Blood Countess, went ahead and attacked and started off the assault on the East Coast. This is effectively where everything in 1999 started to go downhill for the Camarilla. and truthfully for the world of darkness altogether. And it's so amazing to just look at it. We've got the Alliance Theater, we've got the High Museum of Art. Looking at it for what it is, just a building where people appreciate the arts is it's so surreal because I can't see it like that anymore. The Kindred of the Camarilla in 1999 walked up this very trail to enter into the High Museum. It's so weird to be here. So my time in Atlanta is drawing to a close, and I thought, what better way to end it than to actually walk around the High Museum of Art and be where the story started, where Leopold got his hands on the Eye of Hazamal, where Vigel died in service to Hesha, where Sasha Vikos marked our dear Victoria Ash on the face forever. She never healed it, with the serpent biting its own tail sign right on her lower jaw. It's surreal. And I wish we could have been here at night. That would have made so much more sense considering what we do. But just looking at this place for what it is, I thought we'd be able to get onto the top floor, which is where Victoria had her massive doors. One double set leading into heaven, one double set leading into hell. And she used that as her convoluted scheme to make sure that the antediluvians weren't able to control her. She decided what door she was going to walk into, making sure that every minute detail was completely randomized. She took flipping a coin or rolling a dice to a whole new level. And I think that actually says a lot when it comes to the idea of vampire being a randomized game. But the fact that she was making a randomized game of her own life so that she would not be controlled by the antediluvians says a lot. But it's such a beautiful building. And I'm looking for something very specific. I've never been here before. This is actually my very first trip to Atlanta. And I want to find something specific. And I feel like I'm very close to actually coming to the end of my little treasure hunt here. Now, sadly, we can't get in today because unfortunately it's Monday and they're closed on Monday. But this window right here, this massive window, is the highest that I've been able to find that isn't connected directly to a studio or a personal work office in the High Museum, which I'm assuming that means this is it. This is where Leopold fell. And I know that sounds so weird, but it's such an important part of VTM history, is that this Toreador, who wasn't even really a Toreador, he was a Tremere anti-tribu caitiff, saw that Victoria was being attacked by a Schlachta, and then ran to her aid, thinking that she was his sire. And he's launched from this window and falls straight down onto the sidewalk right here. The next thing that we know about Leopold is he's on all fours, face down on the sidewalk, with his tongue pressed in between the cracks, trying to get every little blood-soaked piece of debris that he can find within the cracks of the sidewalk. I really wish we could go in. I really, really do. Unfortunately, they are closed for business today, it being Monday. But it's still amazing to be here. Just in general, being able to see everything that was going on, where everything was. I've walked around trying to find the parking garage to see where Videl was attacked by that pack of Sabbat. But I really am starting to believe that, and I do it all the time with my stories, but I do believe that the authors of the attack on the High Museum may have taken a little bit of liberties. This is a lot more crowded than I had expected it to be. No complaints though. This place is just beautiful. It makes me wonder which hotel the Sabbat had stationed themselves in for their war party. I'll even admit that in the hotel that I was staying in, I was like wondering, could this be it? But I gotta admit that it was probably too nice for for that Sabbat pack, Sabbat war party, not pack, to have been camped there. But about a mile or so down the roads in all directions, the bureaucratic Sabbat, and yes, those did exist at a time, the bureaucratic Sabbat were pulling all of their strings to make sure that no cops were going to get down here. There were blockades set up. There were packs running around, shovelheads running around, performing all kinds of atrocities in the farther reaches of the city, so that the fire department, the police station, everything would be more, they would have their hands full. They would not have the ability to get to the museum itself to try and stave off any of the events. Because as much as people don't like to admit it, the Sabbat, they practice their own form of the masquerade as well. They don't care if humans get suspicious or anything like that, but it's more along the lines of just not letting people find out. They are dirty about masquerade keeping, but they are masquerade keepers nonetheless. I'm walking the sidewalk outside the High Museum, enjoying this amazing view, everything that it is and was in the book. Fall of Atlanta, the clan novel Toreador, clan novel Zemitzi. And I cannot get over the desire to participate in a LARP here. Especially after yesterday's class, which was ritual significance of roleplay, which was amazing. And I'm incredibly thankful for having the opportunity to be able to participate in. This right here could be the entrance to a private garage. Could this be where Vigel was killed? In that case, he would have gone around the corner, and that's where Leopold would have woken up with his tongue inspecting the inside of the eye canal that Vigel had right before he found the Eye of Hazamel, while it was looking for a new host, that parasitic Methuselah artifact. Really, it's oh my god, I don't know. I'm freaking out because this place is it's so much smaller than I thought, but the world of Vampire the Masquerade makes everything so much grander. The population of a city in terms of the game is considered doubled to make it so that more vampires could be into an area. The buildings are more gothic, and even the modern buildings have a tendency to linger on the eerie. The High Museum of Art is a white and concrete bastion of modernism, and I can see why Victoria Ash chose this place to be her war ground. This is where she decided that she was going to put in her bid as Prince of Atlanta, to move up from just being a primogen to being one of the higher standing members of the Camarilla in general. And I'm very grateful to be here. I hope in the future I can come back and I'll have the ability to actually go inside, to go to the top floor, to see where the fight happened, to walk through the place where those fresco doors stood. To stand in the same footprints of all those SPCs that have shaped my perception on what it is to be a Kindred. And I'm stalking this place right now. Walking the steps, circling the building, doing exactly what the Sabbat did at the time. I don't know, maybe this Mystic South is probably something that I'm going to come back to. I highly enjoyed it. If anybody out there is of the pagan persuasion or are just curious about how the other side lives, it's definitely a place where you can meet some amazingly beautiful and talented people. And if that is the case, I might very well have to set aside a day during the Mystic South event to be able to come back here. Because it was only 18-minute drive away. This is where it started. This is where the Sabbat launched its attack. Not just on Atlanta, but on the east coast of the United States. This is where the opening acts, the previews of the Week of Nightmares were. Vampires who were involved here were also involved in the deciding who was going to become the new Prince of New York in 1999, right before they had Celebros take the throne, because Victoria Ash thought that becoming the prince might very well be designed by the antediluvians. I want to thank you all for joining me in this walkthrough of the High Museum of Art, or the walk around of the High Museum of Art. And I'm about to start coming home. Metaplot Monday should have come out 6 minutes ago. It's I try to make sure that you're out by noon at the latest on Mondays, but this week you're just not getting one. Because I took time out to do some personal things for myself, which I'm sharing with you because, I don't know, this coterie has become very important to me. But I also took the time to check out this amazing building, this incredible space, which is such a high point, monumental monument. Monument. It's such an important spot in the world of darkness. And even though this is done during the day, I hope that you all enjoy this video. And I cannot wait to get back to our regular stuff because I have some fun things planned. Good evening. There it is. That is the parking garage that Vidal fought the Sabbat in. He fought valiantly. He took on an entire pack. He did not win, unfortunately. It's actually rather disappointing how close to the MARTA system they are, which is their Atlanta's public transit. It's could have been an escape, truthfully, but who says that the Sabbat didn't have the MARTA covered, which I'm pretty sure they would have. There would have been at least a pack or two stationed at the MARTA.